Good evening and welcome. Lawmakers are slamming MTR officials for lying to the public after the railway company made multiple changes to its account of the detection of construction flaws at Hong Hom Station. The government is promising to follow up on any possible violations of the law. Caleb Bloom has more.
The MTR Corporation is under fire for its multiple explanations over botched construction work at Hong Hom MTR station, which is being expanded. Earlier reports indicated that a contractor used shortened steel bars to give the appearance that the bars were being connected correctly with couplers on the walls of two new levels of railway platforms. On Wednesday, the MTR Corporation said they found the flaws in December 2015. Then in an MTR statement issued yesterday, it said relevant construction work began in mid-2015 and deficient workmanship was spotted afterwards. It also said more problems were identified in December of that year. And during today's meeting of the LegCo Railway Subcommittee, the MTR Corporation claimed they first spotted problems in August 2015. As at December 2015, there were 5 incidents of cutting corners, and the railway company sent a warning email to the contractor. With its ever-changing explanations, lawmakers believe the MTRC is still lying.
Your press release should have said that you discovered that in August, and then you followed that up in December. So you didn't tell the public the facts. You misled the public.
As for the government, it asked the public to be patient, promising to take necessary legal action after reviewing MTRC's report.
If there is reasonable doubt that somebody has breached the law, we'll follow that up. Please give some time to let the MTRCL to explain clearly.
Greg Wong, former president of the Institution of Engineers, noted that if only a total of 5 steel bars were involved, the effect to the overall structure is minimal. In the worst-case scenario, Wong said, the platforms could collapse because of the flaws. However, it all depends on how many flaws were there and if there were any that weren't spotted. As for the load test demanded by the government following the recent revelations, Wong recommended using weights heavier than the structure is required to handle. This is to make sure the structure has the necessary load capacity. Caleb Loom, TVB News.
The other rail project that's been firmly in the media spotlight is the Express Rail Link connecting Hong Kong with the mainland. Authorities say that at the end of April, the local section is 99.6% completed, but it may take a while to finish going through all 1,100 claims from contractors to the tune of roughly $30 billion. Every day, roughly 5,400 construction workers and technical professionals work on the construction of the local section of the Guangzhou-Shenzhen-Hong Kong Express Rail Link. It will hopefully be opened in the 3rd quarter of this year, 8 years after work commenced. What remains unclear is how much more needs to be paid to contractors who are seeking claims from the MTR Corporation. As at March this year, the firm received over 1,100 substantiated claims of approximately $29.8 billion. So far, around 300 claims have been resolved, with over $9 billion awarded to contractors.
Claims were made in relation to changes due to geological conditions or other external factors, and those were changes in the design. Or the changes may come from requests from other stakeholders, causing lengthening of the construction progress.
Even unresolved claims received interim awards of over $4.7 billion. Then an extra $10 billion spent on additional works.
For example, we are to construct a road of 8 meters, but now the stakeholders request that the road be lengthened to 200. We need to add the sum. So that's not part of the claim. Who is responsible? Didn't you know about it beforehand?
That's when the Deputy Secretary for Transport and Housing jumped in to say that the entire project remains capped at $84.4 billion. In Spain, Mariano Rajoy has been ousted as Prime Minister after losing a no-confidence vote in Parliament. The new Prime Minister is Socialist Party leader Pedro Sanchez. He secured enough votes to take power immediately after the no-confidence motion passed. The Basque PNV party switched allegiances after dozens of people linked to Rajoy's People's Party were sentenced to decades in prison in a long-running corruption scandal. Rajoy's minority government struggled after two inconclusive elections in 2015 and 2016. He also came under fire for a perceived inability to solve the secession crisis in Catalonia. Opposition parties are urging Sanchez to call an early general election.
A Kiev court has granted a request by prosecutors to detain a suspect for 2 months in what Ukrainian authorities say was a plot to murder Russian dissident journalist Arkady Babchenko. Boris Herman, the co-owner of a weapons manufacturer, appeared in court denying that there was any intent to kill Babchenko. Babchenko worked with Ukrainian authorities to fake his own assassination on Tuesday before reappearing at a news conference the next day. Herman said he was contacted by someone close to the Kremlin about plans to kill Babchenko, but he says he turned over the information to the Ukrainian authorities and worked on counterintelligence operations with them. Prosecutors say they have evidence that Herman handed over cash to pay someone to kill Babchenko.
Police confiscated abortion pills at a pro-choice protest in Belfast. This comes as pressure mounts for Northern Ireland's strict pregnancy termination laws to be liberalised. Rights groups used 2 robots to deliver abortion pills to women outside a court in the city. They're demanding reform after neighbouring Ireland voted last week to remove a constitutional abortion ban by 2-1. Abortion is permitted in Northern Ireland, but only if a woman's life or mental health is at risk. It is not permitted in cases of rape, incest or fetal abnormality. The penalty for unlawful abortions is life imprisonment.
Still ahead in tonight's news. Legal victory for the government in the case about civil service benefits for same-sex partners. Relief from the scorching heat expected next week. And higher fixed penalties for 5 types of traffic violations come into force. Welcome back to TVB News. A civil servant today lost his appeal against the government's refusal to grant his same-sex partner spousal benefits. The Court of Appeal stressed it must prevent anything that challenges the concept of marriage locally. Sharon Tang has that story.
Senior Immigration Officer Angus Leung tied the knot with his partner Scott Adams in New Zealand 4 years ago. But his bid to change his marital status was rejected by the Civil Service Bureau. The legal battle began when the Bureau denied medical and dental benefits for Leung's partner, while married civil servants' spouses are offered such benefits. The Inland Revenue Department also turned down Leung's request for a joint tax assessment for him and his partner. All that prompted him to take legal action. In April last year, at the Court of First Instance, he won the case on obtaining civil service benefits for his partner, but failed to challenge the taxman. Both Leung and the government appealed the court's ruling. Today, the Court of Appeal overturned the lower court's decision, upholding the government's policies on both civil service benefits and taxation issues. The judgment stressed that heterosexual marriage is the only form of marriage recognized in Hong Kong. It deserves full protection in a sense that the law must be vigilant to prevent any impermissible inroads that would challenge that special status. Chief Judge of the High Court Andrew Cheung stated that the Basic Law refers marriage to one man and one woman, which gives the court a constitutional backing to protect it. The court also noted that the law should ideally catch up with any material changes in socio-moral values. But if there are no changes, it is more preferable to leave the matter to the executive and the legislature. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
The weather is finally cooling off next week after an unusually hot week. The observatory recorded a maximum temperature of 35.1 degrees today, the 16th day with temperatures over 33 degrees. It became cooler after some showers this afternoon. Cloudier weather is expected during the weekend and early next week. though there could also be strong winds and thunderstorm from next Wednesday.
Starting today, fixed penalties for 5 types of traffic violations have gone up by about 25%. Drivers who enter and stop in yellow box junctions or U-turn causing traffic jams will be given $400 fixed penalty tickets. The same penalty for those who stop at bus stops or taxi stands without authorization, and for minibuses or taxis that stop longer than necessary to pick up or drop off passengers. For drivers who stop in a restricted zone to let passengers get on or off their vehicles, the penalty has now been increased to $560.
A third witness today testified against a woman accused of criminal contempt of court. She admitted to taking photos inside the High Court last Wednesday, but said she did not mean to disrespect the court or the judge. Tang Lingling cited her experience in Beijing and said the higher the public participation, the more transparent the courts will be. Before adjourning the case until Monday, the court summoned 3 paralegals to testify. They are the ones who reported the incident to the lawyer of that hearing last week. And that's news.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.